Welcome everyone. In today's presentation, I will be showing proofs of the flat plane we inhabit. If you have not seen the previous chapters of NASA and gravity, please watch those first before watching this video. It will prepare a foundation to which this chapter follows. YouTube has heavily censored credible flat Earth research and proof, shadow banning quality videos in the search feed, and instead bombarding the curious researcher with ungrounded, illogical, flat Earth images to try to dismantle all credibility. For the record, flat earthers do not claim there is a drop-off edge as mainstream would have you believe, because no exploration is allowed at the ice wall. So we won't know the truth about the outer perimeter until exploration is allowed. That's why its access is restricted in the first place. It's hiding the truth of our plane and other lands as spoken of by Admiralty Byrd in my NASA video. With that being said, let us now explore the lands we have access to. Boats and land masses visible where curvature is calculated. The vanishing point is the point at which boats and land masses disappear from view, because they are too far away for our eyes to see.
In Genoa, Italy, standing 70 feet above sea level, one can see the island of Gorgona, which lies 81 miles distant. Under the expected calculations, this island would be obscured entirely from view by 3,338 feet.
Yeah, figure the shipping lane is anywhere from 20
to 30k out.
30k out. Yeah. And you know what? You know what's happened since 2016? IFAS, International Flat Earth Research Society's blog's been closed down.
Really?
All the major flat earthers being taken off the internet.
I showed you the other day. I sent some pages and they just kept on this taken down, it's been removed. There's going to be
On days with clear visibility, it is possible to see the complete Chicago skyline down to street level from Grand Mere State Park across Lake Michigan, a distance of 59 miles. According to standard Earth curvature calculations, this view should be entirely obstructed by 2,091 feet of Earth's curvature.
And you can see how much clarity we had that day. You can actually see the stripes in the glass.
Wow.
And, well, right behind that is a mountain. You can see it diagonally sticking up like a pyramid.
Yes. Wow.
Well, that's Mount Warning, which is in the state of New South Wales, behind Byron Bay, and that is 99 nautical miles away. It is 1 degree and 39 arc minutes of distance, and yet it's only 3,600 feet high. So let's just say we go from 99 to 100 nautical miles to round it off. 607,000 feet away that mountain is, and I'm only 1,500 feet high, and it's only 3,600 feet high. So there's 5,000 divided into 606,000 feet, and you'll see that it's like 1 to 100. It's impossible that there's any curvature at all.
Oh, absolutely. There's zero.
And that is the longest shot, I think, that's ever been taken in Australia, just by the way.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
That's the whole of the, you're looking at Brisbane from the north to the south, and you're looking from left to right, the entire CBD.
This is from where I live, Jerry, in Mullaney. We're just 3 minutes outside of the town called Mullaney on the Sunshine Coast, and we're looking down at Brisbane like it's like 100 k's away.
Wow, that is amazing.
There are just endless amounts of proofs showing the flat plane in all of its different forms, the salt flats, Mount Everest, from a weather balloon, a lake. This is all photographic and video evidence that you can compile for yourself with equipment that you can buy in a store. Here is another experiment that was done. This one is 169 miles away at eye level. That's spectacular, 169 miles, which means that 19,000 feet of missing Earth curve is calculated. There's been several experiments conducted and published on YouTube of lasers being used, and they'll point one laser and then someone will be at the other end where they shouldn't be getting the laser at eye level, and the laser arrives to the other location. In this image here, we can see this experiment was able to photograph Corsica from Nice. The media says it's just a mirage. And then you can input the calculations, leaving a missing curvature of 2,794. Another experiment from Loveland to Pikes Peak shows proof of Pikes Peak at a 110-mile distance with an elevation of 14,110 feet. This should be completely invisible due to supposed curvature. Here we've got a causeway, a great example proving flat Earth, which is 23.87 miles long, shows 380 feet of missing curvature. You can go there yourself, point a laser, and that laser will reach the other end at the level of the horizon. If you want to try this experiment yourself, you need to make sure it's low tide, because during high tide, it could affect your ability to see the land masses or boats depending on their height. Australia is a great place for such experiments because it is an incredibly large landmass with straight, long roads which can easily prove or disprove curvature. Its longest road is 90 miles straight across. Aviation.
If a plane flies at a constant speed of 550 miles per hour between these two cities, how can the flight times be the same in both directions, given that the Earth is said to rotate from west to east, moving with the plane in one direction and directly against the plane in the other? Examining closer, on an eastbound flight from San Diego to Atlanta, the Earth's rotation moves in the same direction as the aircraft. Conversely, on a westbound flight from Atlanta to San Diego, the Earth rotates in the opposite direction to the aircraft's travel. These opposing dynamics present significant challenges that become apparent upon closer examination. Once the aircraft lifts off and disconnects from the Earth's surface, San Diego is now approaching our plane at a speed of 870 miles per hour due to the eastward spin of the Earth, bringing San Diego directly to us, while simultaneously directly approaching San Diego, our destination city, at an independent flight speed of 550 miles per hour. Our plane and San Diego are now closing in on each other. This should, in reality, significantly reduce our flight time, as the two combined speeds effectively create a far faster convergence speed of 1,420 miles per hour. The actual flight duration should now be shortened to just 1.33 hours, rather than the actual 3.45 hours observed daily for this specific flight.
Pilots are bus drivers. They used to have to know how to rebuild that plane from the ground up before they were allowed to fly it. Now, if they ask questions about, how does that work? They're told it doesn't matter. You don't need to know that. You just need to know how to take off and land. And that's it. They take off, they set the cruise control, they're flying straight and level. Airplanes fly straight and level over the Earth plane, and they do not nose down like they would be required to. Let me show you one thing here, and then I'll show you another, and then we'll see where we go from there. So airplanes, this is what you have to believe. What the Earth is corkscrewing through space in 4 different directions at once, that you can fly around like this, okay? Well, it's worse than that. The Earth is spinning, so you're flying like this. If you're going to fly around the Earth, you got to be moving sideways right here at 1,000 miles an hour. You got to be up here, you're just pirouetting. It's 100 miles an hour at 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. So where are you getting this sideways spin? Because you're going 1,000 miles an hour sideways, but here you're only making a small circle. So this is an impossibility. It's totally impossible. So if you were flying, you would see the world from you're always on the top, you're always level because of gravity. And you're really flying over the ball, right? You're flying over the ball, just like that, right? So all of the stars in the distance would be rising up. Like this star is in front of you, and then when you go over the ball, it's now above you. Follow?
Yeah.
You nod. Okay, so you can't scream refraction, you can't scream anything else. Here's a flight from Berlin, I think, to Brazil. It's going over 4,000 miles. It's diving over the ball. But none of these stars are rising up. They're just staying there, rotating like they do. This is what Google Earth says you would see. All of the stars would be rising up because they're not rising up. You're just diving over the ball. So the stars that are in front of you are going to be above you when you're down here. This is what Google Earth says, but this is what reality shows. The NASA boy globe defenders come back and go, well, that's because you're going in this direction. You're going with the spin of the Earth. Well, the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. You're only going 500 miles an hour, so it should still rise. But what about coming back? That would mean it would be going twice as fast. It's like if you're driving a road and there's another car on the other side going the same as you, or you're going a little bit faster, right? On the way back, it's going to be much faster. Filmed in both directions, same effect in both directions, no rising of the stars. This is a globe killer. Everything is a globe killer. This is a globe killer. Problem is, you can show this to a pilot and they'll short circuit. They won't even be able to comprehend it because of their indoctrination. Because, they were never taught to nose down. They were taught, hey, we're coming in for landing. We're 100 miles from the airport. You got to figure out the rate of descent. Well, the rate of descent would be 30 feet per minute or whatever it is to get us to the runway. Well, and that's how they calculate it. But at 100 miles, there's over a mile of drop. And they do not calculate that in their calculation. The rate of descent, they do not calculate it. So they would be over a mile above the runway when they got there. No, we just treat it as it's flat. We measure it as it's flat. And everything works out like it's flat, but it's curved. That's what they want you to believe.
This theory on the globe that there is a molten lava core from which all volcanoes emanate their lava, that's complete BS. Because first of all, it's a theory. It's never been proven that there's molten lava at the core. And the Russians were the ones that wanted to test this theory out. So they spent years drilling miles and miles and miles deep into the earth. And what did they find? No molten lava core. They found nothing but earth and terrain. That they ended up giving up on their search and quest to find out what was on the other end of the earth beneath us. Nothing has ever been found. NASA has released images of Earth from different sizes of continents to different colored oceans and different colored land masses. The reason why I'm putting in the globe calculations into the globe theory section as proof that we do in fact live on a flat plane is because of the calculations. Now, I'm quite aware that 666 and all of these numbers that have been turned satanic were originally once and continue to be sacred. I'm well aware of that. However, in Satanism, they also go by a set of numerology and certain numbers that they use for their rituals to draw upon certain demonic deities, such as Baphomet. And 666 is symbolically known as the number of the devil, demon energy. At the very top of Freemasons, like 33rd degree Freemasonry, they are involved in rituals that has to do with Satanism. And many of today's powerful elites that run the world are also heavily involved in Satanism and ritualistic sacrifice. It actually has to do with a requirement that they have to meet from the people or entities, shall I say, that have power over them. When we stand on the ground and just simply feel into the movements around us, it is very clear and evident that we are not spinning at thousands of miles in mid-space with all of the planets hurling thousands of miles an hour through the universe. There's just no common sense that can feel this in our bodies. This is a lie that's been fed to us. all the planets moving thousands of miles an hour through space for billions of years, why is it that we still see the exact same constellations as were recorded over 6,000 years ago? If this globe theory is correct, that means that we would be seeing much different constellations now than as opposed to then. Yet we have the exact same nakshatral astrological Vedic system that is as accurate today as it was 6,000 years ago. Let's segue into stars now and do a bit of critical thinking as to what's really going on in the sky above us.
Well, Venus, Saturn, they all go around a center point being Polaris. How can that be if we're going around the sun and the sun's moving 4.5-5 billion miles a year, never to return to where it was before? But somehow our North Pole always points towards Polaris. The only reason it points towards Polaris is because Polaris isn't moving, and neither are we. Polaris is the center of rotation of the heavenly realm.
So as we can see, the stars move, Earth doesn't. Polaris stays fixed in the sky. This is what is known as the central axis. And this also correlates with our toroidal field that we have over our planet. The central axis is akin to the center of this toroidal field. There is also plasma and ether. We're going to get into some miscellaneous proofs here. If we look at all of these, you'll see the planisphere. They're all pretty much flat. You know, we see this over and over again where they are calculating for a flat plane, like in aviation, when they're measuring to land. Same with the gravimeter. They're saying it's a globe, but calculating it as a flat plane. Would you believe if I told you that NASA documents themselves reveal the Earth to also be a flat plane? Eric Dubay released an incredible video called 50 Government Documents Proving Flat Earth. I recommend you check it out. I'll leave a link below as well.
NASA published a 100-page document titled Derivation and Definition of a Linear Aircraft Model, which, in its opening summary on page 6, states, "This report documents the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth." In the introduction, it continues stating that this report details the development of a linear model of a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth.
We're going to look at an example of some water photos here. Water basically shapes itself to what holds it, and it always lays flat no matter what. You can see it with different terrains, and all it does is fill that terrain, and it always ends up flat. Nowhere do you ever see water making any sort of curved movement being held in place. This is illogical, but it's been so indoctrinated into so many of our minds that people just short circuit when they start to see this and rethink about it. This map of the world is the map of a flat plane. This map actually correlates with the flat Earth map that we have. A map used for air travel and war strategy is resurfacing once more to confirm a flat plane map. Now we're going to go to the odometer of airplanes. Think about it. If the horizon and the curvature is always shifting and moving and has to be recalculated, why isn't it adjustable? Why is it simply painted on horizontally without any ability to move? As you can see, it's showing the vanishing point there that I showed in the beginning of the video. Planet is plane and T. T is a crossing point, as you see. It's a place where there is a point of crossing. So it's crossing the plane, plane T, planet. This is a railgun. It can hit a target 100 miles away in a perfectly straight line. That's 6,666 feet of missing curvature. I'll leave out the irony of the number once more. But there you can see the proof just goes on and on and on. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of proofs by now. We've got here a fisheye lens as opposed to a normal camera lens. When the sun is near the camera, the stars are rarely ever visible in the daylight. That's why you're not seeing the stars in this balloon footage. Next, we've got some more footage. Billions of dollars of taxpayer money is supposedly spent on space exploration, going to other planets. Clearly, that's not what's happening. It's a show, a distraction and illusion from what's really going on. And that's a massive withdrawal of taxpayer dollars invested into things that we have no knowledge of. All of that money would have solved world hunger by now and improved the earth we are actually inhabiting now. I want to extend my deep gratitude and appreciation for those who have been relentlessly creating content, spending countless hours spreading all of this proof, all of this information that's been suppressed and hidden for so many years. So why would they lie about the shape of the earth? That's a great question. Leave your comments below of why you think that is. We'll be diving into that very question in the next chapter.